you print num2, it'll come up as 20. So here you're saying the variable num2 equals num1, which is 2, multiplied by num2, which is 10. So the new value for num2 is 20. You can do the same with division. So if you take that away and put a divide sign in, and click OK, then yeah, so then you do 2 divided by 10. So num2 equals num1, 2 divided by num2, 10, equals 0.2 here. Okay, now we can try strings. So characters, you can use them, but you don't use them often. So I'm gonna go with strings instead, just because it's more useful. So string name equals John. And now if you want to see what the variable string is, you can do system.out.println name. And here you can see the variable is John. You might be thinking, well, why not print John into the print line thingy instead? Well, that's because, let's say a user is using your program and his name is Alex, and you're asking him, or the program asks him, what is your name? And he types in Alex. And then if you just print a random name here, John, it will say, it will feed back, your name is John, except it's not John, it's Alex. So what the use is that if a user uses your program and he or she inputs variables, so gives values to the variables, then the entire program still makes sense rather than being completely off balance. Now I've taught you a bit about the variables, and most variables work in the same way. I'm going to teach you a bit about if statements. Now, if statements are extremely important in programming. You'll find them in most code. So let's just say we have here the name John. And then let's say we have a second string called name2, and the name is Alex. Now we can say if name dot equals John, do this, and this part, it will become in between two brackets. So right now you're saying if name, so this variable, equals or is the same as John, which in this case it is, because name has a value of John, do everything that is in between this bracket and this bracket. So we can say system.out.print hi John. Otherwise, if name isn't John, else. So else basically means if none of this is true. So if this is true, do this. Else, if none of it is true, do this. And this is everything between this bracket and this bracket. And this, and then you could say your name is not John. Pretty obvious, but just as an example. And then we can have another if statement. If name 2 dot equals Alex, do this. And then you can say, hi, your name, or hi, Alex. And then we can have another else statement, saying that. Now you may notice that there are two else statements here. And you think that perhaps the program might get confused. Well, what actually happens is, if you have an else statement, it applies to the previous if statement. So this else statement is saying, if name does not equal John, then go here. And this else statement is saying, if name2 does not equal Alex, then go here. So now if we run the program, we should get 2 lines. Hi John, hi Alex. Now you may notice that here, this is kind of untidy. This is because I did print instead of print ln. If we remove this into print ln, everything should be a bit tidier. So when you're programming, remember that in most cases you put print ln instead of just print, depending on what the situation is. Now you can see it's a bit neater. Here in the console it says hi John, hi Alex. That is because when the code goes to this if statement, so if name.equals John, which it does, go to this. So the computer goes back to the variable name and looks at its value, John. So it says, oh yeah, it is John. It does dot equal John. So I'm going to go to this line of code. And when it gets to this line of code, it checks name2 again and it sees, yes, it does dot equal Alex. So I'm going to go here. So instead of John, I'm going to put Alex as the first one and John as the second one. So now name equals Alex. So let's see what happens. Now my program is telling me your name is not John and your name is not Alex. So that is correct. So it goes to this line of code, if name.equals John, and then it checks name, and name is not John. So it goes to this else statement. So else, or else, and then it does whatever is in here. So similar for this, or exactly the same actually for this. It goes back to name2. It says, oh no, it does not dot equal Alex, so I'm going to go to this else statement and do what's in there. This is quite a useless program because it doesn't really do much, but we can use these things, or these elements, for various things. Now let's say we didn't have a string, but we had a double, and our double had a value of 10. And this double had a value of 20. And instead of name, because it's not really a name, we'll call it just num and num2 instead. Now, you can't use the same in here if it's a string or a double. If it's a string, you do dot equals. If it's a double, however, you have to do num equals, or 2 equal signs. The 2 equal signs basically means is exactly the same as. If there's 1 equal sign, it may not, it's complicated to explain, but it's just not the same as double equals. Double equals is really, this is exactly the same as this. So here we'll put num equals 10, and here we'll put num2 equals 20. So now what should happen is, yeah, there we go. So now it's going to this if statement and it's going to num. If num is the same as 10, so it goes, checks on num is the same as 10, then print this out. In here it's if num2 is the same as 20 and num2 is the same as 20, go to this line of code here. Now you can also put different signs in here. For example,